Welcome to the Classroom Brew podcast. The teacher podcast is a little bit like drunk history. But wait, do you guys actually drink while you record episodes? Yeah. Actually. Yeah. Welcome back to Classroom Brew. This is episode 75. And actually, make sure I'm in the shot. Pretty exciting for this episode because we have our first in-studio guest. So Robbi is from what's the name of your podcast?
Growing Minds.
Growing Minds podcast.
Yeah.
And this is the first time, and she was willing to do it, so very excited.
Yeah.
How was everything though? Like, drive was good. I know we're kind of far south, but
The drive was good. Yeah, I'm used to coming up here. I commuted to Bridgeport for college from the suburb that I live in, and so I was used to it. And then I did a trumpet lesson for one of my kiddos in Hyde Park. So it was good.
That's quite a commute for teaching and stuff like that. But.
Yeah. She pays me a little extra for the private lesson, which is really sweet. She came down to me one day and she paid me like so much because she was like, "You drive this much just to give my daughter trumpet lessons?" And I was like, "Yeah." That's
cute though.
So yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So what are you drinking for this episode?
I drink Stella. Stella is my favorite beer because I was doing this gig with this guy, and he was like this really cool piano player, and he ordered at the bar. He was like, "I want a Stella, please." And I was like, from now on, I am drinking Stellas because I want to be as cool as that guy.
That's amazing. Have you ever like gotten a drink with him, and then you ordered a Stella, and he was like, "Oh my God, she's so cool. She's drinking a Stella." That would be me.
Yeah, no, I just ordered it after he was. I was like, "Yes, I'd like one too, please."
I also frequent these Stellas.
Right. That's my normal drink. Yes.
That's awesome. Well, welcome to the studio.
Thanks.
We'll do the cheers. So before we jump into like the specifics of your show and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think I've got my phone nearby, but did you hear about there's this audio bit from earlier this week with Donald Trump Jr. Do you kind of know where I'm going with this?
No, I don't, but I'd like to.
It is, if I can ever find my phone. You can tell I'm very prepared for this one.
No, you're good. I'm never prepared.
Oh, crap. All right, hang on. This might be the first standby. There it is.
Hey, you're sitting on it. Classic.
Yeah, right? It's like when you have your glasses on top of your head.
Yes.
We're not cutting any of that. I'm keeping it. I'm not going to bother. So this is where I thought would be a good place to start, since we're both obviously teachers. So here's the actual audio. So I'll kind of ghetto put it into the mic.
You know what I love? I love seeing some young conservatives because I know it's not easy.
That's not so far, but it gets better.
Keep up that fight. Bring it to your schools. You don't have to be indoctrinated by these loser teachers that are trying to sell you on socialism from birth.
I did hear about that, actually. Yeah, Now that you've played it, I have heard many references to loser teachers lately.
So my thought when I first heard it, too, is I was like, well, one, who hurt you, man? Like, what happened? Like,
that's awesome.
Like, were you asked to read aloud one time and then, like, you didn't do it right and then they, like, berated you? Like, who hurt you? I don't understand.
That's hilarious. That's really funny.
I couldn't believe it. And so then I thought, like, all right. So you teach, for those that don't listen to your podcast, you teach music, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
General
so
music.
It's not just at one school.
Yeah.
So what's the setup for your actual job?
So it's 4 schools. I have like this interesting rotation schedule. So there are odd weeks and even weeks, and we teach 7. Their children get music every 7 days. So I have 32 different classrooms. And I was telling you earlier, I go into their classroom during their data team time. Mm-hmm. So the classroom teacher takes data team time with everybody else. And then we go into their classroom during that time. They get art and music. So it's 45 minutes of music, and then they get 45 minutes of art. We kind of like switch classes. And that's pretty much the layout. Like I said, 32 different classrooms. I have like 800 different students.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Well, it comes with like its own struggles that are totally different than other teachers, I think. And that's, we'll talk about that kind of thing later. But yeah, I have the struggle of like behavior because they can't really form habits after only seeing them every other week. And then just as many students as I have, record keeping is difficult and all that kind of stuff. But I can use, with differentiation, I can use the same plan, like relatively the same plan for like all of my first grades. You know what I mean?
That's smart.
So I don't
didn't
have
think
to
of that.
plan. I don't have to plan as much as I feel like the normal teacher has to plan, but there is a lot of differentiation and behavior problems that come up a lot more often. But I can't imagine how you grade and plan for the same classes. Do you teach the same classes every day?
Yeah, same classes
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
I got 3 different subjects that I do, but
Okay.
not too bad really once you get a handle on it. But
Yeah.
I can't even. So like, do you ever have a day where like you spend the morning in one school and the afternoon in another?
No, that's the nice thing. So
Okay.
I feel like I would not enjoy my job as much if I had to do that.
Yes.
But I have two days at one school and then 2 days at another school and then 2 days at another school. And then we actually have this awesome thing that I'm sure all of our teachers in our district that don't have this hate us for. But we have every day 7. So we have 6 days teaching. Every day 7, we have the entire day is like a PLC collaborative sharing ideas and also doing meetings and also taking care of other things day. And it's amazing. Like every 7 days we get to collaborate and talk about everything. And it's because one of the reasons is because our program is really new. So this is the second year that they've had music in the elementary schools. So.
Oh, well, they didn't really?
Yeah.
That's insane to me. That's all I can remember is I had, her name was Miss Varpa, and like, it was, I think, every other day.
Yeah.
Like she was always in
that's
there.
amazing. You're blessed to have that. Yeah.
It was a great experience. And I'm thinking back, like, man, if she had every single elementary kid, she must have hated some of us. Like, oh my God. So they didn't have that before? There wasn't a music program at all?
No, nope. Which is kind of crazy because Joliet has been known as they're like this huge band town. So like they've had band in their history for. I think it's like the second, I'm probably misquoting, but I think it's like the second longest band program in the nation or something like that.
Okay.
And they do really, really well. And so I find it interesting that they never had general music, but maybe the
insane.
band program will get even better. Hopefully.
That'd be good. Well, if you've got enough loser teachers to do it, then I'm sure you will in due time.
Great.
Yeah, we have a new, our long-term music teacher, she retired this past year. And we have a new teacher, and she's like teaching them how to play instruments for the first time. Like they would do like bucket drums and things like that.
Yes.
So
bucket
Aaron, I don't
drumming.
think you listen or watch the podcast, but a shout out to you for
Maybe she
for
will because
taking
I'm a
that on.
music teacher.
There we go. I'll have to let her know. But it was insane because they did their first, it was like right before winter break or Christmas break, whatever you want to call it. And they were all playing instruments, and it was like they learned these instruments in like 2 or 3 months. Now, granted, sounded terrible, but when you consider the actual task that they had in front of them, like that was really good. Like they did like 3 different songs and they actually pulled it off.
That's
But
amazing.
I
That's
can't
really
even
cool.
imagine. It's so weird because like when you were in school, you probably had music, right? Like that was just part of your routine.
Yeah, we had it. I think we had it once a week. It is upsetting that we go through like different periods of the arts being important and not being important. It's happened in history before with the what do they call it? Not the space race. Kind of the space race. Like when it became huge for like in the 50s, when it became huge for science and math, and then they got rid of the arts entirely in school then.
I'm thinking like Mr. Holland's Opus,
Yes.
that movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've seen it.
Yeah. Yes, of course I've seen it.
As a music teacher, you kind of have to.
But they got rid of the arts entirely, and then in the 60s, it kind of became a thing where like everybody was fighting for it to come back.
Sure.
But for a while there, everybody was kind of worried that the arts would not be as valued.
Sure.
But they're essential. That's what all the philosophers used to say, like Plato, Aristotle, all those people. That it's the whole child, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my vouch.
That's a good one. That's a good pitch. So anyone that doesn't support music, now you have heard it here. So I guess really when it comes to like the way that you teach, you're going into all these different schools. I was listening to your most recent episode where you had a teacher that was talking about meditation.
Yeah.
So no matter what the lesson is, you like to end lessons a certain way to return them back to their class.
Yeah.
But what actually is it? Like, how does it work? What do you walk them through? And
So, I mean, it's pretty easy. And I do it with my younger kids. Next year, I'm trying to think about a way that I can integrate it with my older kids, I worry that it's going to be so weird to them that they're going to not want to do it. So I haven't done it too much with my older kids. But with like K1 and 2, originally it was just kindergarten. And then I was like, okay, I could do this with first. And then I was like, okay, I can do this with second. But for the last, so I only have them for 45 minutes. But for the last 5 minutes, we wind down because music is a lot of playtime, for lack of a better term. So we do lots of dancing and singing, and we also do lots of content, but it's lots of experiential stuff without them knowing that it's that they're learning, which is cool. But they're also very excited for multiple reasons. I'm the only one that's in their class, or the new person in their class, so they kind of go crazy because of that. And they're playing, so they're like, oh, this is a free for all and all that stuff. So they get really excited. Sure. Their heartbeats are up, and then I just turn on like literally YouTube, like calming music, and I use the same one every single time. But the last 5 minutes of class, I have them put their heads down, like, you're not in trouble, because most of the time when they put their heads down, they're in trouble.
Sure. Even when you're an adult, you're right? Like, put my head down, what?
Yeah. But put your heads down, like, we're just going to calm down for the last 5 minutes. And I try to, and for the little ones, like the kindergartners and the first graders, I give them all a sticker, which is also like incentive. Like if you put your head down and you're quiet, then I'll give you a sticker.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So it's extrinsic motivation for sure, which is why I wonder how it would work with the older kids. I'm going to have to figure out, well, and then I'm sure as the younger ones get older, they'll just be used to it.
Sure.
From me at least. But yeah, so last 5 minutes is kind of like a guided meditation from me. And I try not to be too weird about it because meditation is not widely accepted, especially in the community that I work in. But yeah, I try to just say, think about your choices that you made today. And if you're proud of those choices, think about how you're feeling now. It's okay to feel however you're feeling now, all that kind of stuff. So which I have no qualifications for any kind of meditation giving.
Do the people that actually have qualifications really have qualifications for meditation?
Exactly.
I always think about there's comedian Mark Maron. He was talking about when he tried to meditate, he had all this anxiety about he doesn't know when he's going to die. And then they were like, just clear your mind and focus on breathing. And he's like, I'm focusing on how I'm not going to be breathing in the future. My heart could stop. I hear it now. So he made it to that Zen place. And then it was totally shit on. Yeah. But
that's funny.
No, it definitely has a negative, not negative. I guess people are kind of unsure or weirded out by it, or I don't know, Brian, you're from California. You're probably thinking we do it all the time, man. Yeah, right. California is on the trend. But yeah, it's definitely bizarre to people. But it's bizarre to anybody. I think the first time you come across it, unless you're really open-minded. But then after you try it a few times and it feels very calming, you're like, okay, sure.
I'm into it now. At least that's the experience that I've found. And the teachers, when they come back into their classroom, they're like, oh my gosh. Some of them are they come in and they're right, and their kids say hi to them, and they're like, nope. Miss Hicks has you have your head down right now. Nope. And then keep it going past when I leave, right. Which is funny. But I think it's really helpful. And they say good things to me, but I also heard the other day, I was talking to one of my coworkers, another music teacher, and they were like, who? Because we have it's the biggest district, the second biggest district in the state, I think. Okay. So we have a lot of music teachers that we all work together. There's 10 or 11 of us, and he was like, wow. Who's doing this guided meditation at the end? Because I've been hearing through the grapevine that it's amazing. And I was like, cool. So
that could have gone one way or the other when you said it. I got nervous.
Yeah. And it was just kind of off the cuff. It was honestly because I was like, I got to calm these kids down. That was the only thing. Because I was like, I just got to calm these kids down, and people really like it. And I think it's good too for processing time. Mm-hmm. For everything that we've done, I think it settles in better when I do that. So I don't know. And then stickers. Sure. Stickers.
I'm gonna have to try that. Well, because I have the class that's right after lunch. It sucks. And so I call them a silent start, and it's just a moment of reflection. But there's at least 3 or 4 redirects that have to happen to be we're doing a nice silent reflection here. But I might try that. Hey, as you do this reflection, here's some bubbles or something like that. That sounds awesome. From the suggestion from your last episode. Yeah. But I feel like I would be so thankful to you for doing that. But do you get any teachers that they don't buy into it, or maybe they don't value your input, because like I'm only in year 2 and there's some people that are like, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
My district they're very, most of my teachers, I work with a lot of them, and most of them are very, very grateful, and they're not, if they have anything to say, most of them are not outwardly mean. I think most of the time they just don't really say anything, which is also difficult, because the more I talk to the classroom teachers, the better I know the students and the better I know the class and stuff. So the cold shoulder is almost the worst thing, I think, but most of them are amazing. And there have been 1 or 2 that have actually been not so amazing, but we can talk about that. I talked about that in a dish session, and I'm very careful, because I'm like, no names.
Yep.
Like, don't be shady. But yeah, most people are very appreciative of us. So that's awesome. And I'm thankful for that. And they also get, they get a break from their kids and they get to do PLC time.
Sure.
But yeah, most of them are very supportive.
That's good.
Good.
I always think when you do your PD days or your PLC days, is it very like matter of fact? Because I feel like whenever I show up to a professional development, I'm very like disillusioned by it. Like, we're going to set the norms as adults. We're going to do a bell ringer as adults. We're going to have this schedule and an exit ticket and time to reflect as adults. And I'm like, we don't need to lesson plan this day. Like, we're all professionals here. Yeah. Do you find that, or is it really just kind of like, hey, we all know what we're talking about here. Let's work on something.
My boss, which I think he's amazing, but I think from higher ups, he's been told to do those kind of things. So when he's in on the meeting, so we generally have a meeting with him. He's our fine arts director, and then we have our meeting by ourselves. So with him, it's more procedural, like, sure. And lots of people do say like that they feel like that's less productive, or that's like kind of annoying or whatever. But I think that's probably just because he has to do that. Yeah.
Right.
But so that is kind of a thing. He had made a big deal the other day that we all needed to have roles in the meetings, and everybody was just sitting there silently, like, we all participate anyway. But he wanted us to have rules. So I don't know. I think it all just comes from whoever's higher than the next person, and then the state is higher than that, and then the nation is higher than that. So it just always comes from the man, for lack of a better term. But when we're on our own,
and the video's out, so it does do that. Well, we can keep going. We got the audio.
Okay, cool.
We'll just put a standby. Let's see.
It does do that. There you go. First time.
You can also tell when it's like pressure that's coming. Like we got an email at like 5:40 in the morning from our AP. And it was like, who contacted you about whatever this issue?
Yes. Yeah, he can tell. I love my coworkers to death, but sometimes people forget that the person above you is a human who also has stresses and who also has things going on, and they're not perfect either. And they know that. Even if they act like the most cocky person in the world, they know that. It's probably those people probably know it the most. As a trumpet player, we're said to be very cocky people. And it's all fake. Any trumpet player is just extremely insecure.
How many different instruments do you play, by the way?
Well, I mean, trumpet is my main instrument, and then I like to sing a lot. But we were in school. You have to learn how to play all the band and orchestra instruments. So I've played at like a very low level. I've played like 21 instruments or something like that. Like guitar, piano, all of the orchestra, all of the band. Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. We had a technical difficulty with the camera. So the audio should be good, but the video, you're going to have a little bit of a break. So sorry about that. But what we did do in the meantime was we actually jumped over to Growing Minds podcast. So if you want to check out that audio, where can they reach Growing Minds podcast?
So I have a website, www.growingmindspodcast.com, and that's probably the easiest thing to do. But I'm also on Instagram at Growing Minds Podcast, and then Facebook Growing Minds Podcast as well. So
nice. Yeah. Google always works too. That's my.
Yeah.
I started saying that because I did the same thing, and then someone was like, "Google works too," and I was like, "Fuck you, man!" Like, I want to introduce all of it.
Yeah.
So that's always good. Make sure that we are recording. Are we?
I don't know. I can't see.
Yeah, we are. I think
Not wearing my glasses. Okay.
Well, cool. So I guess one of the last things you mentioned on one of your dish sessions where you just kind of like go into, what you're thinking or feeling that week.
Yeah.
You talked about like professional development and peaks and valleys and things like that.
Yeah.
And taking the initiative to, if you know you have to change something, do it.
Yeah.
Do you ever get any feedback or people that are like, because you said that and I was like, I think I started doing that a little bit this year, but you kind of put the language to it. Have you had other people that they take your show and like reach out to you and find it useful for them yet?
So I recently have had I haven't had that much feedback. I've had very superficial feedback, like, oh, what you're doing is awesome. Like, that sounds cool. Keep doing it. And like, yeah, thanks. But recently I had one woman sent me like pages of an email, of like her story and how she's found, like, she's been back and forth between wondering if teaching was right for her. And she went back to school for it and all this stuff. And she was like, your podcast has been amazing for me. Like, and it helped me so much. And I could, like, when I got that email, I could cry. Like, I'm just a big sap in general, which if you listen to my podcast, you'll know, I'm like the sappiest person, but that in itself, like one person telling me that it helped them, that just made it all of the past however many months worth it. And then I had a random review from somebody, a rating and review. My other rates and reviews are from people that I know. And this one was random. And they said, I'm in school for music education and your podcast makes me feel like, or has calmed my fears of failing. And that, my heart, that crushed me as well. So I'm super grateful for everybody that listens. And I think I actually hit my peak it's been growing every single month, growing.
Good.
Yeah.
Puns are always good. Puns are always good.
But it was like 220 listens last month. So slowly getting there.
Sure.
And
It'll jump up too before you know it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm really thankful. And, so if I've helped you at all, please let me know because it fuels my fire. So
yeah, that's always good.
Thanks.
I noticed this on your most recent episode, you said thebomb.com. So be sure to check out Growing Minds podcast. It is thebomb.com.
Thank you.
Where did that come out of, by the way, that phrase? I think that's so funny.
Oh man. I don't know. I just thought it was a phrase. It's not a phrase.
I mean, maybe I'm from the Midwest. Maybe it's not a thing around here. But
I don't know. I think maybe I made it up, but I feel like, I don't know. I've been saying that my whole life, but I don't know where I got that,
awesome.
But thebomb.com.
Nice.
Yeah.
That'll have to be the episode title or something like
Right.
that. Thebomb.com.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you so much for being my first video podcast. Sorry about the camera difficulty,
no
but
problem.
thank you for coming and taking the drive and all
Yeah,
that good
of
stuff.
course.
Good luck with the show, of course.
Thanks.
We'll
You
have to
too.
do like
Thanks for
a
having
follow-up
me.
too as well.
Yeah, totally.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, this was episode 75. Again, sorry about the quick little video issue. See if I can squeeze this in before then. But make sure, rate and review whatever app you're listening to. If you're on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. You can also turn on notifications. You can reach us classroombrew@gmail.com as well as at classroombrew on your favorite social media. It was almost one breath. I was that close. Be sure, we also have a Twitch. It's twitch.tv/classroombrew. And then, of course, the video podcast clips. If you want more of that exclusive content, you can go to patreon.com/classroombrew to support the show. And then, of course, until next week, would you like to do the honors?
Class dismissed.